They say what you don't know won't hurt you. Lies. I built a crypto empire from nothing, while my picture-perfect marriage crumbled in silence. One minor accident, and a single misplaced item were all it took to shatter my reality. Now I'm uncovering a web of deception that goes deeper than I ever imagined. When the truth finally emerges, nobody's hands will stay clean, especially not mine. My name is Caleb Foster. I'm 37 years old, and I run a successful chain of cryptocurrency exchange locations across Denver. I built my business from nothing, riding the Bitcoin wave when everyone else thought it was just internet funny money. Now I have 6 storefronts where people can convert their digital assets to cash and vice versa. It's a good life, comfortable house in Cherry Creek, the respect of my peers, and a marriage I thought was rock solid. That Tuesday in October started like any other. Deanna had called the night before saying she'd be late. Some client dinner for a PR firm that couldn't be rescheduled. I was already asleep when she got home. I remember half waking to the smell of unfamiliar cologne as she slipped into bed, but my brain filed it away as nothing important. "Babe, I'm heading out," Deanna called from downstairs. "Early meeting downtown." I stumbled to the kitchen in time to catch her applying lipstick in the hallway mirror. "You look nice," I said, pouring coffee. Deanna smiled that tight, quick smile. "Thanks. Oh, by the way, I had a little accident last night." "What? Are you okay?" I instantly felt more alert. "I'm fine. Just scraped the side of the car against a concrete barrier in the parking garage. It was raining. Visibility was terrible." She shrugged like it was nothing. "Car's drivable. Just cosmetic damage. Wanted to take a look." "No need. Gotta run." She grabbed her keys, gave me a quick peck that barely grazed my cheek, and was gone. Something felt off. Deanna was usually anxious about even the smallest ding on her prized Audi, and I hadn't heard her come home in the rain. I distinctly remembered clear skies when I went to bed. After finishing my coffee, I headed outside to take out the trash. Her car was parked at an odd angle, like she'd been in a hurry. The scrape she mentioned was there on the passenger side, but there was also a dent in the rear bumper she hadn't mentioned. I don't know what made me try the door handle. Just a feeling. The car beeped as it unlocked. She must have left the key fob in range. The interior smelled wrong. Not Deanna's signature vanilla perfume, but something masculine and musky. When I leaned in to investigate, I noticed muddy footprints on the passenger floor mat. Denver hadn't seen mud-producing rain in weeks. As I examined the car, my heart began to pound. The passenger seat was pushed all the way back, much farther than Deanna would need it. Between the seats was a black metal money clip, definitely not mine or Deanna's, with a business card for Sterling Maxwell, investment advisor, wedged inside alongside several $100 bills. But it was the receipt tucked under the floor mat that truly froze my blood. The Hampton Inn, dated last night, with a room charge and 2 cocktails from the hotel bar. The signature wasn't Deanna's. It was scrawled as S. Maxwell. My wife hadn't been in a business dinner. She hadn't scraped her car in the rain. Whatever story she was selling, I wasn't buying it anymore. I sat in Deanna's car for what felt like hours, my fingers still clutching that damning hotel receipt. The rational part of my brain tried to construct innocent explanations, but there weren't any. Not with that cologne lingering in the air, not with the mud on the mats, and certainly not with Sterling Maxwell's money clip wedged between the seats. My first instinct was to call her, to demand answers immediately. But that would only give her time to craft more lies. If I wanted the truth, I needed to be smarter. I took photos of everything: the receipt, the money clip, the mud, the pushback seat. Evidence that couldn't be explained away. Then I carefully returned everything exactly as I'd found it and locked the car. Back inside, I poured another coffee and opened my laptop. A quick search for Sterling Maxwell brought up a LinkedIn profile. Mid-30s, slick hair, smug smile, working for Pinnacle Investments downtown. I recognized him from Deanna's company holiday party last December. He'd hovered near the bar all night, watching my wife when he thought no one was looking. My phone buzzed with a text from Tara, my operations manager. "Meeting with Centennial Bank moved to 10:30. Sending you the proposal now." Tara had been with me since I opened my first location. She was sharp, organized, and knew every detail of my business and my personal life. I replied, "Thanks. Heading to the office soon." When I arrived at my downtown exchange office, Tara was already there, efficiency in motion as she prepped for our meeting. She took one look at my face and froze. What happened? She asked, setting down her tablet. I hesitated. Tara and Deanna had become friends over the years. But I needed someone to talk to, someone who understood what was at stake. I think Deanna is cheating on me, I said quietly, showing her the photos on my phone. Tara's face went through a series of expressions: surprise, concern, and then something else, something that passed too quickly to identify. Guilt? Discomfort? Maybe there's an explanation, she said, not quite meeting my eyes. Have you asked her? Not yet. I want to know what I'm dealing with first. Tara nodded, still looking uncomfortable. Smart. What are you going to do now? I'm going to follow her tonight. She said she has a client dinner, but I'll let the sentence hang. Caleb, Tara said carefully, are you sure that's the best approach? Following her could escalate things if she's innocent. Something about her tone made me pause. It wasn't just concern, it was nervousness. Why aren't you telling me, Tara? She flinched slightly. Nothing. I care about both of you. I don't want things to get messy if this is all a misunderstanding. I studied her face. We'd worked together for 6 years. I knew when she was holding back. Tara, if you know something about Deanna, you need to tell me. Now. Her eyes darted to the door, like she was calculating an escape route. It's not my place. I shouldn't get involved in your marriage. That's when I knew. Tara wasn't just concerned. She was complicit. She knew about Deanna's affair. Maybe it even helped cover for her. The betrayal struck twice as hard. How long have you known? I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. The bank meeting forgotten, we stood in my office, with the weight of dual betrayal hanging between us. Tara cracked under my stare. Fine. I've known for about 3 months, she admitted, shoulders slumping. Deanna swore it was just a fling. She made me promise not to tell you. My jaw clenched. 3 months? And you've been looking me in the eye every day. I told her to end it or come clean, Tara said quickly. I never approved, Caleb. I just what? Help my wife lie to me. Watch me walk around like a fool. It wasn't my place to. Stop. I held on my hand. It was exactly your place. As my friend. As someone who's eaten at our dinner table. Tara's eyes welled up. I'm sorry. You're right. I took a deep breath. Who else knows? Be honest. Just me as far as I know. And Sterling's assistant, probably. This Sterling guy, what do you know about him? Tara hesitated. He's been pursuing her since that holiday party. He's got money. Thinks he's untouchable. He's done this before. What do you mean? I overheard them arguing once. He mentioned someone named Vanessa. How Deanna wouldn't end up like her. It sounded like another married woman he was involved with. I straightened my shoulders. Tell the bank I had an emergency. Then call my attorney. What are you going to do? I grabbed my keys. First, I'm getting my own hotel room tonight. Then I'm following my wife to her client dinner. I booked a room at the Westin downtown, then drove to Deanna's office building. At 6:15, she emerged, looking polished in a dress I didn't recognize. I followed her BMW at a safe distance. She didn't drive to a restaurant. She drove straight to a high-rise condo building in Lodo. I watched as she used a key card to enter the garage. This wasn't the first time she'd been here. I parked across the street and called a buddy who worked in real estate. Need a favor, Mark. Who owns Unit 1205 at the Spire on 14th? After some keyboard clicking, Sterling Maxwell. Purchased 8 months ago. What? My stomach churned. I'll explain later. Thanks. I sat in my car, staring at that building for almost an hour. This wasn't just sex. This was a relationship. My wife had a key to another man's home. She'd been living a double life while I worked 60-hour weeks growing our business. I thought about storming up there, confronting them both. But no, that's what a hothead would do. I needed to be strategic. This wasn't about catching them in the act. It was about protecting myself for what came next. I drove to our bank and accessed our safe deposit box, removing our marriage certificate, property deeds, and investment documents. Then I headed to my hotel, where I spent the night making phone calls to my bank, to my attorney, and finally, to a private investigator. By morning, I had a plan. Not a revenge plan, a survival plan. The PI I hired, Malcolm, worked fast. By the next afternoon, he compiled a file on Sterling Maxwell, 36, never married, 6-figure income, and a history of dating married women. There's a pattern, Malcolm explained, sliding photos across the hotel desk. He picks women with successful husbands, usually business owners, romances them for 3 to 6 months, then disappears when the divorce gets messy. What's his angle? Money. More like sport. He comes from family money. The challenge excites him, taking something that belongs to a self-made man. I studied the surveillance photos. Sterling entering his building. Sterling and Deanna at a restaurant I'd never been to. Sterling shopping for what appeared to be women's jewelry. There's more, Malcolm said hesitantly. I found Vanessa Collins. My head snapped up. The other woman Tara mentioned? Yes. Her husband owned a custom furniture business. Sterling had an affair with her last year. When the husband found out, the marriage imploded. Messy divorce. The business suffered. Sterling moved on to your wife shortly after. Is Vanessa willing to talk to me? Malcolm nodded. That's the thing. She wants to. Says she wishes someone had warned her. That afternoon, I met Vanessa at a quiet cafe in Boulder. Blonde, early 40s, with a weariness behind her eyes I recognized from my own mirror. He won't stay with her, you know, she said after introductions. That's not his game. He collects marriages like trophies. How did you find out? I asked. Text messages. My husband, ex-husband now, discovered them. She stirred her untouched coffee. By the time I realized what Sterling was doing, the damage was done. Richard couldn't forgive the lies. I'm sorry. Vanessa leaned forward. Don't be sorry. Be smart. Sterling's not the disease. He's a symptom. Your wife chose this. Mine too. Did you confront him? I tried. He laughed. Her eyes hardened. But then I found the others. 3 other women before me. We compared notes. What did you learn? That Sterling Maxwell gets off on destroying what other men have built, and that our husbands deserved better than wives who could be so easily turned. As I processed her words, my phone buzzed with a text from Deanna. Working late again. Don't wait up. I showed Vanessa. She gave a bitter laugh. Same message, different wife. I thanked her for meeting me. As I stood to leave, she caught my arm. Whatever you decide to do, don't let him win by losing yourself. I nodded, a new resolve forming. I won't. I spent 3 days gathering intelligence. My PI Malcolm shadowed Deanna and Sterling, documenting their routine. They met at his condo most evenings, occasionally at an upscale restaurant called Vesta, where they apparently felt safe from being discovered. Meanwhile, I moved methodically. I transferred half our joint funds to accounts only I could access. I documented every asset we owned. I backed up text messages, emails, and photos. I was building a fortress of evidence while Deanna thought I was clueless. Tara kept calling, leaving anxious voicemails. I finally answered on the 3rd day. Are you okay? She asked immediately. Define okay. I replied coldly. Caleb, I know I messed up. I should have told you months ago. Yes, you should have. A pause. She's been asking if I've heard from you. She's getting suspicious about why you've been staying at the office so late. I almost laughed. She was worried about my late nights while she was sleeping with Sterling. What does she think is happening? I asked. She thinks you're working too hard. Tara hesitated. There's something else. I overheard her on the phone with Sterling yesterday. They're planning a weekend trip to Aspen next month. She's going to tell you it's a girls' trip with me. My jaw clenched. Thanks for the heads up. What are you going to do? I'm going to have a conversation with my wife. Tonight. I texted Deanna that I wanted to take her to dinner, to Vesta, her secret rendezvous spot. She responded with suspicious enthusiasm. When I picked her up, she dressed carefully in a red dress I bought her for Christmas. The sight of her perfecting her lipstick in our hallway mirror made my stomach turn. How many times had she done this ritual before meeting him? You look nice, she said as we drove. Special occasion. Just wanted some time with my wife. I replied evenly. At the restaurant, the host led us to a corner table. I watched Deanna scan the room nervously. Was she looking for Sterling? Afraid he might show up? I've never been here before, I commented. Have you? She took a sip of water. Once or twice for work events. The food is amazing. The first lie of the evening. According to the staff Malcolm had interviewed, she and Sterling had a regular table by the window. How's work? I asked casually. Busy. That Anderson account is taking all my time. She launched into a detailed story about client demands. I let her talk, watching her animated gestures, her practiced expressions. I'd once found them charming. Now I saw them for what they were, performed, calculated. Enough about me, she finally said. How's the crypto business? Enlightening, I replied. I've learned a lot about value recently. What's genuine versus what's counterfeit? She tilted her head, confused by my tone. I reached into my jacket and placed a small box on the table. What's this? She asked. Open it. Inside was Sterling's money clip, still holding his business card and cash. The color drained from her face. Where did you get this? From your car. The day after your accident, along with the Hampton and receipt. Her eyes darted toward the exit. Caleb, I can explain. I'm sure you can, I interrupted calmly. You've been explaining things for months. To me. To Tara. To yourself. Her shock transformed into anger. You've been spying on me. I smiled without humor. Ironic that that's your first concern. Deanna's eyes hardened. So what now? You ambush me in public? Make a scene. No scene, I replied. Just clarity. I know about Sterling. I know about the condo on 14th. I know about the planned Aspen trip. Her face showed flickers of calculation. I could almost see her recalibrating, formulating a new strategy. It wasn't serious, she said finally. Just a stupid fling. I was going to end it. When? Before or after Aspen? She reached for my hand. I pulled back. Caleb, we can work through this. People make mistakes. Marriages survive affairs all the time. Is that what Vanessa Collins thought too? Her eyes widened. How do you? I've met her. And the others. Sterling has quite a pattern. Deanna's composure cracked slightly. What others? What are you talking about? Your boyfriend collects wives like trophies. You're just the latest addition. I leaned forward. Tell me, did it boost your ego? Being chosen by him? Did it make you feel special? Stop it, she snapped. You don't understand. We grew apart. You were always working, building your precious business. The business that paid for your car, your clothes, the life you enjoyed while betraying me. She glanced around, lowering her voice. I made a mistake, okay? I admit it. But your precious hands aren't clean either. Excuse me. All those late nights. The crypto conferences. You think I believed you were just working? I stared at her, incredulous. I was building our future, while ignoring me in the present. Her eyes glistened with tears that didn't quite fall. I was lonely. So lonely you needed a key to his condo. Her silence was answer enough. I'm staying at the Westin, I said, standing. I've spoken with my attorney. You'll be hearing from him tomorrow. You're leaving me? The tears finally spilled over. Just like that. No, Deanna. You left me months ago. You just didn't have the decency to tell me. I placed cash on the table for the untouched drinks and walked out, ignoring her calls behind me. As I reached my car, my phone buzzed with a text from Malcolm. Sterling just entered the restaurant. Back in trance. Perfect timing. I got what I needed. The rest was up to them. When I reached the hotel, I had 6 missed calls from Deanna and 1 text. Please come home. We need to talk. I didn't respond. Instead, I called Vanessa Collins. It's done, I said when she answered. I confronted her. How do you feel? She asked. Like I can finally see clearly again. The morning after our confrontation at Vesta, my phone exploded with notifications. Deanna had called 17 times overnight. Tara texted that Deanna had shown up at her apartment at 2 a.m., hysterical. I ignored them all and met with my attorney, Michael Grayson, instead. The evidence is substantial, Michael said, reviewing my documentation. Given Colorado's equitable distribution laws, her infidelity won't directly impact asset division, but we can use it for leverage in negotiations. I'm not interested in punishing her financially, I clarified. I just want a clean break and protection for my business. Admirable, Michael nodded. Most clients want blood. I want my dignity and my future. That's enough. When I returned to the Westin, Deanna was waiting in the lobby. Her perfect appearance had cracked. Makeup free, hair pulled back, wearing jeans instead of her usual business attire. You can't just ignore me, she said, following me to the elevator. I sighed and turned to face her. What do you want, Deanna? To explain. To fix this. Her voice cracked. I made a terrible mistake. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. You had a months-long affair and lied to my face daily. The elevator doors opened. I stepped in, and she followed. Sterling meant nothing, she insisted. It was just attention, validation, things I wasn't getting at home. And that's my fault. I asked as we reached my floor. No, but we both checked out of this marriage. You with your business, me with him. I unlocked my room door. Part of me wanted to shut her out, but we needed to have this conversation eventually. You could have talked to me, I said as she entered. You could have tried counseling, separation, anything but betrayal. I know, she whispered. I just couldn't find the words. Then it spiraled. I kept my distance, standing by the window, while she perched on the edge of the bed. Did you know about the others? I asked. Vanessa? The others before her? Deanna's eyes widened. He said his ex was named Vanessa, but others. He has a pattern. Finding successful men's wives, pursuing them, then vanishing when things implode. She paled. That can't be true. Ask Vanessa Collins yourself. I tossed her my phone with Vanessa's contact information. She'd love to hear from you. Deanna stared at the phone, then at me. What happens now? My attorney will contact yours. We'll sell the house, divide the assets fairly. You'll transfer your partnership shares of my business back to me. Just like that. 8 years over. You ended our marriage the moment you decided Sterling was worth betraying me for. I'm just making it official. She stood, eyes brimming. I still love you, Caleb. I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but exhaustion. No, Deanna. You love what I provided. Security. Status. There's a difference. That's not fair. None of this is fair. But it is final. As she left, shoulders slumped in defeat, I felt no satisfaction, just the quiet certainty that I was finally freeing myself from a beautiful lie. 3 weeks after Deanna moved out, Tara appeared at my office door. Can we talk? She asked hesitantly. I gestured to a chair. Our interactions have been strictly professional since my discovery of her role in Deanna's deception. I'm resigning, she said, sliding an envelope across my desk. Because of Deanna? Because I betrayed your trust. I can't rebuild our professional relationship knowing what I did. I studied her face. The guilt seemed genuine. Where will you go? Seattle. My sister lives there. Fresh start. I opened the envelope. Her resignation letter was thorough, professional, with a transition plan for her replacement. I could counteroffer, I said. You are valuable to this company. It's not about money. It's about integrity. She hesitated. There's something else you should know. My guard went up immediately. What? Sterling's been contacting Deanna again, telling her he made a mistake, that they should be together. I frowned. How do you know this? She called me last week, asking advice. I told her to leave you alone, that she'd done enough damage. The information stung less than I expected. Not her problem anymore. Tara looked surprised. That's it. You're not upset. Their choices stopped being my concern the day I filed for divorce. She nodded slowly. You've changed. Had to. I leaned back in my chair. What did Deanna decide? About Sterling. She's considering it. Said she's got nothing left to lose. I almost felt sorry for Deanna. Almost. Sterling would discard her once the thrill of conquest faded. But that wasn't my battle to fight. I appreciate the information, but you don't need to be my spy anymore. Tara stood to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Not just for keeping her secret, but for not being a better friend to you. After she left, I walked to the window overlooking downtown Denver. 6 months ago, I thought I had everything figured out. Successful business, beautiful wife, solid future. Now half of that equation was gone, leaving unexpected space for something new. My phone rang. It was Vanessa Collins. Have you heard? She asked without preamble. About Sterling and Deanna potentially getting together? Just now. No, she said, voice tight with satisfaction. About Sterling's job. He's been fired. Turns out Pinnacle Investments has strict morality clauses for their advisors. After we all filed complaints, me, the others, and several of his clients whose funds he mismanaged while pursuing married women, they terminated him. I felt a flicker of something that wasn't quite schadenfreude, but close. Couldn't happen to a more deserving guy. Want to get coffee sometime? Vanessa asked suddenly. Just as friends. Fellow survivors. I considered the invitation. 6 months ago, I would have declined, too focused on work and what Deanna might think. Now, sure, I said. I'd like that. As I hung up, I realized I was genuinely smiling for the first time in weeks. Not because Sterling was facing consequences, or because Deanna was out of my life, but because I was still here, still standing, still capable of moving forward. 6 months after my world imploded, I signed the final divorce papers in Michael's office. Clean, fair, and mercifully quick by Colorado standards. Deanna got the vacation condo in Vail, and a reasonable settlement. I kept my business intact and the house in Cherry Creek. Congratulations, Michael said, shaking my hand. You handled this with more grace than most clients. No point in a scorched earth approach, I replied. We both made mistakes. Hers were just more definitive. As I left the building, my phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa. Still on for dinner? What had started as casual coffee had evolved into a genuine friendship over the past months. She understood the unique hollowness of betrayal in a way others couldn't. We weren't dating. Neither of us was ready for that. But her company had become a comfort I looked forward to. That evening at dinner, Vanessa arrived looking lighter than I'd ever seen her. Sterling called me today, she announced. My fork paused midway to my mouth. What did he want? To apologize, if you can believe it. She shook her head in disbelief. He's leaving Colorado. Apparently, being blackballed from investment firms has made Denver inhospitable. Did Deanna go with him? I tried to ask casually. No, that's the most surprising part. He said they broke up months ago. He claimed he's seeking professional help for his issues. I absorbed this silently, surprised by my lack of reaction. 6 months ago, this would have stirred something. Anger, satisfaction, vindication. Now it was just information about strangers. Do you believe him? I asked. Vanessa considered this. I think hitting rock bottom sometimes wakes people up, but his recovery isn't my concern anymore. Nor mine, I agreed, raising my glass. To indifference, the true opposite of love. She clinked her glass against mine. And to rebuilding. After dinner, walking Vanessa to her car, she asked the question I'd been avoiding. Have you heard from Deanna since the divorce? One email, I admitted. She's moving to Chicago. Fresh start. How did that make you feel? I considered this carefully. Like closing a book I've already read. I know how the story ends. No need to revisit it. Vanessa nodded, understanding in her eyes. The scary part is what comes next, writing your new story. Scary, I agreed, but also freeing. As we said goodnight, I realized something profound had shifted within me. The betrayal that had once defined my every waking moment had receded into the background. It would always be part of my history, but it no longer dictated my future. The next morning, I woke to an offer on my desk that would expand my crypto exchange business into Seattle. 6 months ago, I would have hesitated, worried about dividing my attention between business and marriage. Now there was only possibility stretching before me, unmarked territory where I could define success on my own terms. I accepted the offer that afternoon. 1 year to the day after discovering Deanna's betrayal, I stood in the doorway of my new Seattle office, watching the rain trace patterns down the floor-to-ceiling windows. My Denver locations ran smoothly under new management, and this expansion represented not just business growth, but personal evolution. My phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa. Thinking of you today. Proud of how far you've come. She knew the significance of the date without me mentioning it. That kind of understanding had become precious to me. I'd flown her up to Seattle twice as my consultant for the new office design. Our relationship had evolved into something neither of us had labeled yet. More than friendship, but cautious, respectful of our mutual scars. As I arranged my desk in the corner office overlooking Puget Sound, my assistant knocked on the door. Your 10 o'clock is here, Mr. Foster. My first official client in the new location. A tech company looking to diversify its treasury with cryptocurrency. I straightened my tie and headed to the conference room. The meeting went well, contract signed, hands shaked. As the clients left, one of them paused. Didn't you used to be in Denver? He asked. Yes, I answered simply. I needed a change of scenery. Bold move, he commented. Most people just talk about fresh starts. You actually made one. That afternoon, I called Vanessa. How's Seattle treating you? She asked. Well, different in all the right ways. I hesitated. I'm coming back to Denver this weekend. Would you like to have dinner? A proper dinner this time. The pause on her end wasn't rejection. It was careful consideration. We'd both learned the hard way about rushing into things. I'd like that, she finally said. And Caleb? I'm glad you called. After we hung up, I walked to the window, watching ferries cross the sound. The man I was a year ago would not recognize me now. Stronger, wiser, more deliberately thoughtful about the future. The betrayal that had nearly broken me had instead forced me to rebuild with better materials. My business was thriving. My confidence had returned. And for the first time in a long time, I was genuinely excited about what tomorrow might bring. I had learned the most valuable lesson of all. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain. It's about moving through it without losing yourself in the process. As I watched the Seattle skyline fade into twilight, I realized I wouldn't change what happened, even if I could. Without Deanna's betrayal, I might never have discovered my own strength or recognized the value of honest connection. Some lessons arrive in brutal packaging, but they arrive precisely when we need them most.